Hey guys! So what I'm up to today is I am painting the closet doors. I've actually been doing a lot of painting. I don't know if you can tell, I painted this entire room. We've painted all the walls of the house already, and I've painted most of the doors. The normal doors I've painted all of. I've painted all of the trim. Now I have to do all of these closet doors. And I thought, you know, it's been a while. And I thought, I'm doing this today, I might as well just like make a video and chat with you while I'm doing it. So hopefully the audio is not too bad. I'm just gonna kind of work on this because it just takes so dang long. It takes so long to paint these doors, and I've got 3 sets of them. So I'm gonna get the backside done of these today while talking to you, and then I'll just see where it goes from there. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get started painting. I'm not sure how well this is set up, but I'm just gonna talk. These are my painting clothes, by the way. I already did the backsides of these, and then I was like, this is kind of boring, so I'm gonna talk to you while I do this. I'm just painting them white. All of the walls and all the doors, maybe it's just because they're so old, they took on a yellow hue, but they're like really yellow. Like the paint hue is really yellow, so we have like an actual white that we're repainting everything. And then the walls we did in this like blue side of gray side of white, and it's beautiful and I love it so much. Like I don't know if it shows up, but I love the color that the walls are right now. We're trying to get it ready to sell, and so these won't be my walls forever, but I might repaint my own walls. I love this color so much. I am in no way at all very good at this, so don't judge my actual like painting skill. I'm doing my best. Today is New Year's Eve. I have been quarantining for 2 days now because I had some symptoms. Like I don't have like the classic COVID symptoms. I don't have like a normal cold, although today for the first time my throat hurts, so like maybe it is COVID. Basically, I'm living with Schrodinger's COVID. 2 days ago I wasn't feeling great. My work requires you to let them know if you have any symptoms, and I had like 2 on the list, so I called in and it was just like, hey, I think I ate something I shouldn't have. That's honestly what I think happened. I think I ate something I shouldn't have, but I have these symptoms, and they're like, for an abundance of caution, we're gonna have you not come in until the 6th of January. And I was like, that seems fair, because they actually give me sick pay at this job. And so it wasn't like the end of the world, and I was just like, cool, okay. Like I felt terrible that day, and actually I'm not feeling too good today, but it's like not COVID type symptoms. It's like a very light headache, and since I get migraines, it doesn't feel like that much. I'll spare you the details, but basically I have Schrodinger's COVID because I also cannot go get a test result. I have looked everywhere. Right now, the Seattle area is having like an unprecedented storm. Like we pretty much never get snow this time of year. Snow comes in February up here, and we had a lot of it. Like especially for it to stay, we had like the coldest day I've ever seen. It usually barely dips into the 20s like one day of the year. And usually it stays like right at the 30s, like right at the threshold of snowing, and it'll warm right back up because we never get down into the 20s. It's so rare, especially not during the day. But we had like 16 degrees in the middle of the day at my house. It was nuts. Like the whole winter storm we're having is nuts. Like it's so clearly unnatural, clearly because of global warming. Like it really feels like the end times. Like the snow is still on the ground. It's been like a week. It's nuts. It snowed Christmas Eve, I think, is when it started, and we just kind of had snow since then, which is not natural. But between that and the holidays and people trying to travel, so they got lots of COVID tests. Like I cannot get my hands on a test. I finally ordered a test. It's not going to get here before the 5th, which was also the first day I could possibly get in to get tested. So I may or may not have COVID. Who knows? Not a clue. No way to know because the tests are not available. But I've had 3 vaccines. My husband and I have both had our booster shots. Totally vaccinated. Wasn't that worried, but again, I work in a retail position, so, and he's outdoors and wears a mask for his job. Like he's not actually that close to contact with people. Like he sees people, but he's probably not gotten any serious kind of exposure. Whereas I'm like right there with people, and even though my job does a fantastic job, there's still people who are just like assholes. So I could have picked it up on Christmas when we saw my in-laws, or I could not have COVID and just have something totally else that could be related to, I may have accidentally eaten dairy. We're not sure. We couldn't find anything with it in it, but it started off the same way as my symptoms for that. So I thought it was that. It's so hard to know. I'm home for the next week, which is kind of awesome. I don't have to drive in the snow, which is good because they don't plow here. People don't know what they're doing, and I don't particularly love driving in the snow, so I love the snow. I am actually excited about the snow, but I don't love driving in it, especially here, and I don't have to. I'm staying in, spending New Year's indoors. Josh couldn't even go to work yesterday. The snow was so bad. The pass was closed and he had to go up over the pass. So we've just been spending time indoors. He is going to work today because they don't pay him sick time. So hopefully I don't have COVID. But again, he's not really in contact with anyone, so we weren't actually that worried about that particularly. That's what I'm dealing with. Like you can tell, I don't have a cough. The sore throat thing is probably due to the cold, to be perfectly honest, because I do get that when the weather changes like this. So, but again, if someone gave me COVID, I'm freaking pissed at them. I got all 3 of my vaccines. I've worn a mask since like literally like March of last year. I've worn a mask in public all of the time. There have been so few exceptions, and it's always been times when people are like, oh, it's totally like, you're totally safe. And you know, like it's never safe, but you know, everything has been so back and forth this entire time. And yeah, I've been really careful. So if some fucker gave me COVID, I'm so pissed, because it would have been like at the grocery store where people still try not to wear masks even though there's a mandate. And like poor retail employees, like you try your best and people will be assholes about it. It's like, it's literally not worth you getting screamed at your day job by some asshole who is really just there to like cause a bad time. I tweeted about how, you know, those like mesh masks that some conservative women will wear that are just like rhinestones, but they're totally just fishnet. They're like totally they're useless. But it's like, that is like the most annoying kind of mask where you can tell it's not a real mask. You're like, you're wearing something that feels the same way on your face. Like, it's not about your comfort. It's literally about you openly defying and like showing everyone that like you are going against the rules in the most blatant and bitchy way. I hate that. That's my least favorite thing. That's like, oh, I can tell from a distance that you're an asshole. Those stupid rhinestone masks. Like, if you want to wear that on top of another mask because they're pretty, I totally understand, but that is not how anyone wears them. People just like to be real bitchy about the mask. So yeah, if someone gave it to me, I'm so pissed. Schrodinger's COVID is what I have. So I am staying fully indoors. I sort of wish I'd stocked up on more groceries beforehand, but I didn't know I wasn't going to be able to go get them. I thought I was okay. Anyway, will you guys see me down here? I'll just do the other side first. I'll do the top of the other side first. Anyway, so that's how my week is going, which is fine. It's fine. I'm not losing out on like paycheck or anything, which is fantastic. And I don't have to feel like I might have something that I can't find out about because I cannot get a test. And that I could be giving it to other people. Like, it's really nice to have the peace of mind to know my work cares about me enough to let me just stay home. I've had kind of pain and health issues that now I'm starting to figure out more and more as I get older. But I've been called a hypochondriac my entire life. Like, for anything. It was always like, oh, you're trying to get out of school. Oh, you're doing it for this reason or that reason. And like, I can't remember if it started off that way, and like, maybe I did try to get out of school a few times. But I don't remember that. What I remember is all the times I was like horrifically sick at school. Like when I had whooping cough and had to go to class. Or when like the times I threw up in class. Like, I remember the times that I threw up in class. I especially remember the time, and it was when I was getting over whooping cough. And I asked the teacher like literally 3 times if I could go to the nurse. And she was just like, wait, because you had to have a pass to go to the nurse. It was like my freshman year of high school. And this teacher was an idiot. Like, oh, she was bad. She also had us reading, for summer reading, she had us reading Cry the Beloved Country, which is about apartheid. For freshmen, incoming freshmen, to read that as a summer reading book with like no guidance. I didn't even know what apartheid was at that time. Like, no clue. Like, it was just so dumb. So yeah, their class was already not good. But I literally, like, I asked several times and she was like, just wait, just wait. And so I threw up on the desk. And then when I was like, hey, I'm going to the nurse now, she was like, well, you can't just go. And I was like, well, I've already thrown up all over the desk. I have to go. And then she freaked out. But I was like, I already asked for a pass like 3 times. I don't know. Is that a dumb story? That's probably not. That's probably a shocking story. This is how like meek I was as a freshman in high school. Like, I should have just gotten up and left the room, but I was not that kind of kid. I wish I'd been that kind of kid. Kudos to anyone who was that kind of kid, because throwing up on your own desk is embarrassing. And it shouldn't be. The teacher should have been like ashamed of herself and she should have apologized to me, but I do not think she did. I also think I was back in class the next day. I don't think that warranted me staying home sick. I think I went to the doctor and then I was back in class. Because, you know, that's just in the before times. That's how it was. You went to class even though you were sick. You went everywhere even though you were sick. I was sick all last year going to work. And that was during the pandemic. That was like migraines. That was the whole finding out I can't eat dairy issue. But even so, horrifically sick the whole time. But anyway, when I called in, because you had to call in for my job now about my symptoms and how I was feeling, it was just really like weird to be believed the first time. Like, they just like took it seriously and believed all my symptoms without asking any questions. And I was just like, I've never had that experience before. I've never had people be like, well, but aren't you actually fine about any symptoms? So it was really nice. I really like this job. And I'm talking like from anybody, friends, family, even Josh is like, are you sure you're actually sick? Everyone is like that. It kind of sucks. But just everyone assumes I'm a hypochondriac, and then it turns out I'm actually sick or in pain. Cool times. This is just me complaining because half the people don't watch the video anyway. Oh look, the battery's gonna die. I'll keep talking until the battery dies and then I'll have to wash my hands to change it. Anyway, so it was nice to be believed, and it's nice to like be allowed to stay home because I felt so sick that day. Like, thinking about going into work was like, can I even do it? Like, I'm gonna have to be really careful about like what I eat beforehand because I don't know if I'm gonna throw it up. I have to make sure like I leave with plenty of time to like make sure I'm feeling okay. Like, what medicine can I take? You know, all the things you think about when you've been sick a lot and then you had to work through it, which no one should have to do. No one should have to do that. I've done it plenty. Like, it just shouldn't be the way. It's not fun. It's not helpful. It's not useful. I've never been effective on the days that I come in sick. It's always just like, I'm just here as a warm body in the chair. And if that's all you want, then fine. I'll be here and I'll get everyone else sick. Which is not okay during a pandemic. Okay. Hi, welcome to the floor. Here's where we'll be for the second half of this painting. What should we talk about now? I guess it's probably time to talk about New Year's resolutions, and I haven't really looked through them. Actually, when I finish these doors, we can go ahead and look at New Year's resolutions, because I want to see what I said for last year. Oh, and then I gotta make up some for this year. And I don't know exactly what to resolve to do, because I feel like it's not like I've hit a new burnout, it's like the continuation of a burnout. And I did so much earlier in the year. I really just like crashed at the end of this year. I don't know how ambitious I'm gonna be next year. And it's kind of hard to think because, like I said, I've got just a light headache. It's just like a constant like tension on my head. It's not that bad compared to the migraines I get. So I'm not even taking anything for it, to be honest, because it just feels so mild compared to the migraines. But like, I've got a headache. It's hard to think. But I do need to come up with some resolutions. I might just really go easy on myself. I mean, we'll see what I accomplished and what I still had to do. Because I did accomplish a lot. I just think you always expect, when you're the type of person who makes goals and accomplishments, you always expect to accomplish like so much. So even if you set low goals, like in the back of your mind, you're still like, I'm gonna accomplish like twice as much as this. But I don't think you see the accomplishments that you make. Like when you just stop and look at things, it's like, well, I haven't done anything in like a month. I haven't made hardly any videos. I made a few for my other channel because they're a lot easier to film and to edit than these. But I didn't do that much this month. I was doing work and getting used to work, and I was getting the house ready. I've done an enormous amount of painting. I feel like all my free time is like painting when all I want to do is watch more BTS. And I have been watching a lot of BTS, to be fair. BTS members caught COVID, which is too bad, but like, they're gonna be okay. In case you've heard the news but you don't know what's going on, BTS segment time. So the members all did their concerts and then like split up. Like three of them went home to Korea to start their quarantine because Korea has like a really strict 2-week, I think you have to quarantine totally solo. Like you can't quarantine together or anything. So they started their quarantine. 2 of the members went to Hawaii for a vacation. No one really knows what Suga was doing, but apparently he had his own schedule. And then RM did this like massive US art studio tour that he posted on his Instagram, and they all started Instagrams, so we got to follow a lot of all of this. But yeah, RM went on like a serious art museum tour and apparently had a great time, posted lots of beautiful art that he had enjoyed and places he'd been. And then they started all coming back to Korea. The first 3 got out of quarantine totally fine. And when Suga came into his quarantine, I believe, he took the PCR test and he tested positive for COVID. No symptoms, totally fine. Suga is like no need to worry about him. He's doing great. He even like posted to the fans that he is totally fine. No reason to worry. About a week later, RM was, I think, because you have to take a PCR test to get out of quarantine early, because he took a PCR test coming into the country, totally fine. And then when he was in quarantine already for at least a week at that point, he took a test and it was positive for COVID. So also no symptoms at all, totally fine, but you know, unfortunately stuck in quarantine for longer because of that. So that was their 2 situations. The other member is Jin, and Jin was one of the 3 who came back to Korea beforehand. So totally fine, did his quarantine, no issues, got out of quarantine, totally fine. And then, well, just living his life in Korea, he got flu-like symptoms is what they said, and went to the doctor, and there he tested positive. So he's the only member who I'm actually like a bit worried about, because he actually has some symptoms, but he, you know, hasn't been around the other members, couldn't have picked it up anywhere outside of Korea because he had his quarantine. So Jin actually was sick, but I'm sure he's going to be fine. We haven't really heard anything about him. RM hasn't really said anything about his condition either. So hopefully all the members will be fine. The other 4 members seem to be totally fine, no issues. So yeah, that's the update on COVID with BTS. All I'm talking about is COVID. It's like the only thing that gets on your brain when it's on your brain though. And I feel like I started 2020 just being like, all I want to talk about is COVID, and the last year it was like I can do other things, and this year it's like I'm back to only wanting to talk about COVID because it isn't going away. All I want to talk about is COVID. I got through this long with probably not having COVID. I mean, I didn't test all of the time, and most of my sickness, it turned out to be allergy related, but I mean, I could have picked up a light variant at some point when I wasn't really doing much and had it already. Who knows? Who knows with how prominent it's been and how like you can't seem to escape it. And it feels like I didn't accomplish much this year. Like last year I had done the The trial was so interesting. In 2020, I got to be on a jury for the first time in my life. It was amazing. I mean, I have the vlogs about it where I talk about what my experience was like, what the trial was about. It was fantastic. I'm so grateful that I got to be on that. It was so cool. This year, I didn't do a lot of that. The big thing I accomplished was honestly that I quit that awful job I had been in for 3 years that didn't give a crap about the employees. And yeah, I'm grateful I quit that job. Yeah, that was my big accomplishment this year, because then after that, I don't know, like I had PTSD from it or something. I couldn't function very much. I kind of lay on the couch a lot. I watched a lot of BTS, as you all know. That's all I've been talking about. And I think I needed a recovery period, and now I'm working at another company that's kind of a culture shock because they seem to care about their employees, and that is not something I'm used to. I got a break on a 5-hour shift. 5-hour shift, I not only got a break, I got a break and a lunch, like a 15-minute break and a lunch. I have never in my life worked somewhere where for a 5-hour shift you get a lunch break. I've barely had a break of any kind working 5-hour shifts before. Usually that's the shift where like you just have to power through because they're not actually giving you a break, even though the law does state you're supposed to. But in terms of like things you're here for, like reading and writing stuff, I haven't been doing them. I haven't been doing them. I did a whole lot this summer. I was writing like crazy. I was reading more. I was doing a ton of poetry, ton of reading, ton of vlogs, ton of videos in general. Like I was just like on a roll, and it just kind of stopped. It just kind of like slowed down November and into December, and it's like, I don't know what next year's gonna look like, because my main focus has to be on like getting the house ready to sell and then moving, and once we've moved we'll have to kind of see what life is gonna look like after that. So yeah, I don't have a lot of goals. I don't have a lot of like things to say about the writing and the reading. It's not really been happening. NaNoWriMo like full devolved into fan fiction, and it was glorious. I had a great time with it. I haven't written fan fiction like in a serious way in so freaking long. It was so much fun. Totally reminded me why it's so much fun to like write fan fiction. Alright, we gotta flip the next door and get started on that while I'm still chatting. So let's get going on that. Also, I know my technique isn't very good and it like looks like it's streaky, but it ends up looking fine when it dries. So don't worry about how badly I've painted these. Like it does look fine in the end. I'm not an artist. Anyway, let's move you over here so you're not so far away from me. I'm sorry about the plastic noise. I'm sure every time I move there's been plastic noise. How's your life been? How's your 2021 coming to an end? Like it has not felt like the end of the year, and I think it's because I spent so many months like basically in mental lockdown. Like July, August, September, October. Pretty much spent in mental lockdown, and like honestly, what I accomplished was learning so much about BTS. That was the extent of my accomplishments. I really didn't accomplish anything else. I think summer left, I didn't even feel autumn come, and then winter came, and it's winter outside, like I can see it, but it just doesn't feel like Christmas has even happened yet. Like I'm still mentally anticipating Thanksgiving, and that is long gone. Well, actually I had a nice Thanksgiving. We went up to my cousin's and had like a last minute collaborative Thanksgiving. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Because she's moved up to Bellingham now, and that was really nice. It just doesn't feel like the year could possibly be coming to an end. Like it does not feel like today is New Year's Eve. It does not feel, I mean, I don't know, I'm wearing like short sleeves because this is my painting clothes. The heater is on. Does it feel like it could possibly be the end of the year for anyone else? Like, I'm not ready. Usually by now I've thought about my New Year's resolutions. I've, you know, felt the Christmas vibe come and go, and it just didn't happen. Maybe it's because I'm older and I don't have kids, because I know having kids can like totally change that vibe. But it's like the holidays don't mean as much to me as they used to, or like I just don't feel them the same way. Like, I love the concept of them, but then if they come and go, I'm not sad, I'm not missing them. I don't know, like I'm losing my sentimentality as I get older, which is kind of weird. You'd think you'd like gain more of it, but I'm not. The only thing I am like sad that I'm stuck in here, because he can't go get groceries today either, and I can't go get groceries because I'm quarantining. I wish I had stuff for hot pot. I love doing hot pot on New Year's. I feel like New Year's Eve is like the day for hot pot, and actually with how I'm feeling, hot pot would have been phenomenal, but I don't have anything. Like, I don't have any veggies for it. I think I have soup stock for it just because we keep that around. I don't have any meats, I don't have tofu, I don't have anything that goes into hot pot. So now I'm a little sad about that. I wish I was having hot pot for New Year's. Hot pot is like the ultimate thing to have on New Year's. I don't know if there's probably no like traditional thing for that. It's just nice to have like the little hot pot, and then you can just eat throughout the night and just enjoy it. I love that. That's what we did last year. So that's my first resolution for 2022. More hot pot. Colorado had the worst fire in the history of the state, probably. I mean, fires like that just don't happen on the plains. There was a horrific fire yesterday. I'm not sure if it's out yet. I don't know, you've got that, and you've got this like bizarre winter storm here. It just feels like the end times. Like, it feels like global warming is so obvious and so like in your face right now that people who are still denying it, I'm like, I can just look outside. I can just have lived somewhere for 10 minutes and know that it's not right and that the world is completely changed and it's bad. Like, I don't need someone to spell this out for me. I am aware of global warming very like viscerally. It just feels like we've hit the end times. Like, that 2022 is supposed to be like the last year. Did anyone play Majora's Mask? You have like Dawn of the Final Day. I'm having serious Dawn of the Final Day vibes all of a sudden, right? But on a serious note, like, my heart completely goes out to all the families whose entire lives are gone. Like, their homes are destroyed from these like fast moving, just like chaos fires. And like, it shouldn't happen that way. We shouldn't be having fires like we've been having. And all the companies are like, we're pledging so much, but then they do nothing. And the governments are doing nothing. It's like one little person here. I'm sitting here in my office painting doors. It's probably not helping anything to do with the environment, but at the same time, you know, in your own little corner, like, it does feel like, what can you possibly do when we're this fucked? It's been a cheery vlog so far, hasn't it? I'm so sorry. I really wanted to get on, like, talk about good things, but I didn't end up being in the mood for talking about good things, I guess. Like, what happy things have happened? All of them are like happy but sad. Like, I quit my job. That was a great move and I should have done it sooner. And it's nice to be appreciated in a new job. But it was sad. Like, I was in that job for 3 years. I had really cared about the company. And it just hadn't cared about me back. Which is how it is if you're an employee. You can't trust your boss. Yeah, always value yourself more than your workplace. There is never going to be a time where valuing your workplace is going to long-term solution be better for you than valuing yourself. There's not any time, and the only people who will tell you otherwise are bosses who are hoping that you won't value yourself more than them. Actually, that's a good lesson for the year. Let's say that in 2021, the thing that we all learned together collectively is to value ourselves, but also we learned that anytime anyone tells you any information or any advice or anything like that, think to yourself, what is that person gaining from this? Like, not even like what is their motive, like what is the thing that they're gaining from this? And almost all of the time, it's going to be some kind of like either trust or money thing when it comes to like a company, like someone who's trying to sell you something. They're either gaining your trust so they can sell you things in the future, or they're gaining your money, like directly. So when it comes to corporations, like that's just their business model. Like that's just how they work. They're not doing it to harm you specifically. They're doing it to help them specifically. So always just be skeptical when you're told something or some kind of advice, like even from me, even from YouTubers. Half the time they're telling you something so that they can then sell you something, and sometimes the thing they're selling is trust. And that's fine, like it's okay to trust people. I'm not saying it's not okay to trust people. I'm just saying that like understand like why your attention is valuable and like what someone else is gaining from it, so that you can think about the advice that they're giving in a manner that is not detrimental to you. If you don't want to end up hurt because of believing something that was never meant to actually help you. There are genuine like interactions that are only genuine, but if it's not something that's face to face with like someone you already know and trust and someone who has no alternative motivation, like if you're in a situation where someone could stand to gain something from something, just be skeptical of their advice. It doesn't mean you don't have to take their advice. It doesn't mean their advice isn't good advice. I'm just saying be skeptical of it. There we go. That's your mom advice for the day. For the year, for 2021. I'm gonna move down to the floor again now. Focus on the white door. Painting white doors is fascinating, right? This is good quality content. I'm sure no one is that interested. Hopefully, future me will have edited this in a way that is fascinating to you, but I doubt it because I haven't been talking about that many interesting things, and so I might just be like a 30-minute video of me painting these white doors and talking about things that will definitely make it so this video can never be monetized. Which, by the way, at the time of posting this, if you have seen any ads on my channel, please skip them immediately because they are not, I'm not profiting from them. Oh, this is actually a terrible angle. Let's do a little bit lower. Okay, now you can see the empty cat food bowls because Cloth's been staying in here. Aren't you, kitty? She's not in here now. She's getting along with everyone, so she's out with the others. Then I can use her room for painting. What was I just saying? I have no idea. It's gonna make for an interesting jump cut. Wow, I totally lost my train of thought there. I have no idea. It was gonna be amazing, whatever I was gonna say. Now you'll forever wonder what it was, and so will I. Maybe future me can jump in and be like, hey, this was my subject. I have no idea. I'm almost done with the doors, and then we'll go over New Year's resolutions, so stay tuned for that. What have I been doing though? I've been doing some things. Like we have been catching up on some shows. Like we caught up on Hawkeye. I think I might like Hawkeye the best of all of the Marvel Cinematic extra storylines. Like I really loved it. I loved, what are we calling her? Young Hawkeye? Kate Bishop. Loved her. She was fantastic. I love the Elena. I cannot wait for Elena and Kate Bishop to be a duo. I just need them to do like a whole buddy cop type thing together. They were fantastic together. Those actresses have so much chemistry. It was so much fun to watch. They're just like, their humor matches each other. Their wits are perfect. It was brilliant. I loved the two of them. Favorite characters. Like easily. Elena was already my favorite part of Black Widow, but oh, it's so good. I also liked that Hawkeye was very much like middle finger to the edgelords. This is for true nerds. Putting in all the LARPing and everything. They were like, true nerds only beyond this point. If you can't handle it, you're not one of us. It was great. I love that. I love when they're like, by the way, the edgelords are not real fans. And then the edgelords are all like making these videos being like, well, I don't understand why they put in all of this and that, and like it wasn't true to the comics and things, and you're just like, they knew you'd say that. It was so obvious they knew you were gonna say that. It's hilarious. I loved it. Yeah, Hawkeye was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I think I liked it more than Loki, even though I liked Loki. And I put it at least close to WandaVision. WandaVision just like, it was so good. WandaVision was so good. I think Hawkeye was more fun than WandaVision was. WandaVision got a little dark. Hawkeye didn't go so dark. I think the darkest part was really like him and Yelena kind of coming to terms with Black Widow. I think we were finally getting the mourning for Black Widow that did not happen in the movies, which is kind of really annoying. They're like, oh, Tony Stark, everything Tony Stark. Tony Stark's funeral, and you're like, Black Widow also died. This one kind of gave that grieving that they totally just skipped in the movies. The movies do such disservice to the female characters, it's disgusting. I'm getting Josh to watch Hotel Del Luna, which I thought was fantastic. I love Hotel Del Luna. He's loving it. It's a great, great show. If you are a fan of like XXXholic, or XXXholic, however you say it, if you like romance and mystery and horror, if you like all of those things together, I think Hotel Del Luna does a really good job of balancing them. It's a really good K-drama. Oh, we watched Encanto. Best song ever in a Disney movie ever was Luis's song, Surface Pressure. Oh my god, it was so good. I was like vibing with it from the start, and then as it went on, I was just like, back the heck up, let it go. Like, this song is better than that. It was so good. I don't know why everyone isn't talking about it. I don't know if maybe it's just like I'm into that style of music right now, and so I was like extra into it, or if it was just way too hashtag relatable. But either way, that song rocked. That song was incredible. So good. 10 out of 10, do recommend. There were other good songs. I liked other songs in it. It's just that one song was a perfect song. It was so good. Eternals is coming out soon, and I am seeing it for several reasons. One of them is, oh, what's her name? The most gorgeous actress ever. Gemma Chen? Oh, I don't remember her name, but the really beautiful actress is in it. The one, she was in Crazy Rich Asians. You'll know which one I'm talking about. The gorgeous one. The one who's like too beautiful for life. She's in it, and then Angelina Jolie is in it, and I love her. But also, there's a BTS song in it. So I'm gonna watch it for that, cause I'm army trash, okay? I am army trash. And I don't care who knows it. That's why I'm telling you guys. No, I trust you guys. Not to make fun of me for my new complete obsession. My friends wonder when it's going away. It's not going away. Get used to knowing too much information about BTS. If you need recommendations, I'm here for you. There's more and more to love about BTS, honestly. My husband even has a favorite song now, so ha! And he was not into them at first, but he has multiple favorite songs. That's how good BTS is. I showed him the lyrics to Bopsay, and he was like, oh, I actually freaking love this song a lot. So he loves Bopsay. He loves Onpan Man. He like shyly admitted it. He listens to it at the gym. Because it's like the perfect beat. He loves Onpan Man. Also, we both love Onpan Man, the character. But then he loves Idol. He likes the beat for Idol. So ha! Even my husband likes BTS now. He didn't have a choice. Like, BTS was going to be part of his life. He might as well choose favorites. Okay, before I go up high, let me just do the little, like, get the drips, and then I will wash my hands and then settle down to go over New Year's resolutions, because I'm done with this side of the door. They've got to dry. This video is going to be so freaking long and so hard to edit, so we're going to stop here with the door painting. Thanks for joining me for that. I will be right back. Okay, I decided to come and hang out here with Cora so she can be in the video. And let's see what my New Year's resolutions were for 2021. It looks like the first thing on the list was revise and query my study abroad story. I did finish revising that. Oh, you're gonna leave immediately? Oh, I set it up so nice. Oh, there's a bird outside. Okay, fine. Actually, Toph is over here too. Cora and Toph mostly are fine together, but Cora wants to play in a manner that Toph is not okay with. So we're working on that. So if you hear a sudden like cat fight, they're not hurting each other. They just like to sound like they are, and I have to go break it up because we're trying to establish boundaries. So anyway, it is not ever as bad as it sounds if something happens, but everyone's looking at birds, so I think it's okay. Finished compiling a poetry manuscript. I did, and I sent that out. Rewrite circuit, I didn't end up doing. Finish and send out 2 short stories. I did actually. That was this year, wasn't it? I did. I finished a couple short stories, and I sent out quite a few short stories, so I'm gonna give myself a check for that. Send out poetry monthly. I was doing great until July, and then it really wasn't, so I guess I won't give myself that one. Write 1 poem every week. Again, I was doing great for a while there, and I definitely didn't do that many. That was a lot. KonMari the house. It is happening. It is in the progress. We haven't done all of the rooms, but we have been doing that because we are getting ready to sell the house. So actually I did pretty good on that. So I'm gonna give myself a check. Reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I actually accomplished that. That was like my stretch goal too, but check for that. Good job me. A good job you guys. Thank you so much. Like, I got that because of you. So thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Read a book every month. I did read 12 books this year, but it wasn't every month. But I'm gonna give myself that because I did accomplish it. And then go for more walks. I was doing really well, and then I stopped doing so well. I went for a few really big walks this year, so I'll give myself a check for that one as well. Those were my 10 goals for this year, and it looks like I accomplished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. 7 out of 10 goals, pretty good. I sent a few lofty ones for some reason. Someone thought I was gonna have a lot of time to do things apparently. Well, let's go ahead and come up with some goals for 2022 then. I'm gonna think about them for a minute and check back in with you, and then I can go over my list. Hello, I'm back again. I went ahead and had lunch, I chilled for a bit, I'm back. I've got my 10 resolutions. So, here we go. First one is to move into a new house, which I guess it could go along with selling this house. They're just tied together, but it's something I want to do next year. Read a book every month, which is, I think, a goal I normally have. I just want to try and read more, but I don't want to like pressure myself. It's like last year I read 12 books. It was just in rapid succession. That'd be okay this year, but I just want to have read at least 12 books in a year. Publish poetry manuscript. That is gonna be my big focus this year. I sent it out to like 2 places. They both did reject it, so I'm gonna work towards probably self-publishing the poetry manuscript or looking into other places to publish it, but that's gonna be really the focus for poetry this year, is getting that manuscript published. Take a class to learn Korean. I've been picking up so much Korean with just like how much Korean content is coming up, and you know, and I picked up a lot from working at the clinic because it was Korean based, but I never like sat down and learned Korean. And it's a fascinating language. It's a fascinating like culture altogether, especially since I have a background of having studied Japanese. And my husband is Chinese. I didn't know very much about Korean culture and Korean language, and so like learning what like the stark differences are, it's been really interesting, and I'm enjoying picking up on phrases and words and things. So I think I need to just like take a class, and it'd be okay if it's an online class. I know there's like learn Korean in 4 hours kind of things. I wanted to actually do one of those and like sit down and take the time and take it seriously and try to actually pick up on something. So that's gonna be a goal this year, is actually like studying Korean, even if it's just to a minor extent, just because I have been learning a lot, just kind of picking it up from watching so much content, and I'd like to learn in a more serious way, because I think that really helped with Japanese, is when I actually took a class. Suddenly like the things I was picking up from dramas and music and anime and all of that like made sense, and I want to be able to be at that level with Korean. Not to say I'm very good at Japanese, like my level is barely like kindergarten, but still like I'm competent in Japanese to an extent, but I'd like to be that way with Korean at least. And then bake more often with dairy-free ingredients. ever since I kind of cut out dairy, baking hasn't been as much fun because it just doesn't taste right. But I need to just like open up the idea of experimenting more and trying new things and trying to bake more exciting recipes. Like today I actually just made, I say just, not in like the time, but the time before I started painting, I had made a coffee cake recipe that's a vegan coffee cake recipe. So I used like applesauce, and I used oat milk, but it was just any milk alternative. And I need to do more of those kinds of things. Like vegan recipes, one of the things they do really well is because they're making up for things, they flavor things really well. They tend to be very, very tasty. I need to lean into the vegan baking, I think, because I can't eat dairy of any kind, and butter is in all of the baked goods. I'd like to be able to have baked goods and to make baked goods because I like doing it. And I need to get past kind of the disappointment of them not tasting like they would if they used butter, or also not coming out right. I need to like go a different direction and go into recipes that were made for those kinds of things rather than trying to fit the old recipes that really relied on butter as their like main thing. So I'm gonna do more of that. I need to work on circuit rewrite because that's still in my head. Although I briefly started drafting what like a prequel would be like, to really focus in on Kaye, and it was fascinating. And I may end up writing Kaye's story. That would count, I think, if I wrote that instead. But I don't know, I like have struggled through Circuit, and I know what I want it to be, and it's just not like, no one's resonating with it, I guess, is really the problem. And so I know that that's like my fault, that I'm not writing it the way I want it to be written. And it's just been such a struggle for so long, like fixing things and then coming back. And it's like maybe what I needed the whole time was to write Kaye's story. And maybe that'd be the more interesting story. And we can go from there. But basically, back on Circuit again. 7 is weekly YouTube videos. I now have 2 channels. I don't want to pressure myself. The other channel I can pre-film a whole lot of. This channel, I'm tying this to a different one as well. I have 2 kind of, I want to do weekly videos, but I also really want to focus this year on quality over quantity. I don't want to just be putting out videos for the sake of putting out videos. I don't really want to make videos when I'm like not feeling, like I don't know, I'm not feeling great right now, but I felt like making a video. I want to feel like making a video if I'm going to make a video, rather than trying to do it for content or anything. So I'm going to do that. And then number 9 would be exercise regularly. I really let that fall off the last 2 years, but I'm gonna try and get back into like an actual exercise routine where I'm, you know, getting moving more often, because I know it's better for me. I know I feel better when I do it, and it's healthier. And maybe if I can go on more walks, that would be good, or just like set up a little home gym. I actually finally got rid of the rowing machine that we never used. We didn't use it because it scared the cats. Honestly, I finally got rid of that, so maybe I'm making room after we've moved everything. I'd like to maybe get an exercise bike or something like that, and focus on trying to come back to regular workout routine that I definitely had in 2019, and it's gone now. And I want to go back to eating a more vegetarian diet. That's kind of part of this last year, coming to terms with the fact that I can't eat dairy, was giving up on the vegetarian aspect that I had been really doing a good job of, and just going straight back to meat. Yeah, I don't feel as good after I eat a ton of meat. Like, I do feel better if it's a more balanced meal, and like there are meat things that I want to just eat. I'm not gonna cut them out. I don't feel like I'm going in the vegan direction since I've already cut out dairy. Like, there are things that I'm limited by. So, but I want to do more vegetarian stuff again. I had really been headed that way and then backed off of it, and I want to head back towards that. I think that's just better for me. It's better for the environment. Like, less meat is always good. I'm not going to say no meat ever. I'm just gonna say definitely not more than 2 meals a week should be meat related. And I'm gonna head back towards that direction. So those are my 10 goals for 2022. We'll see how they go. It does seem like it's the end times. We might be headed to the end times. So if 2022 doesn't happen, it has been really lovely having all of you on my channel. I really appreciate it. I hope this was an interesting video for you in some way at all, even though it was mostly me painting a white doors and sitting here in front of a white wall. Like, I know it's not that interesting. I could include me eating some hotek. This is just like a frozen hotek that I heated up. But hotek, I learned about because of BTS. I am eating so much good Korean food because of BTS, because they eat so much. And I'm like, what is that thing they're eating? I look it up and I'm like, I gotta get my hands on that. And I look around and like some of the things I can, like this one, I went to H Mart, but some things I can't find. And so I'm like, all right, how am I gonna recreate this so I can have it? So we've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot of Korean food. It's been excellent. Of Korean things, I'll just say, I really wasn't that like savvy on Korean food. Korean food can have some really strong flavors. They like really, really spicy things, and they really like fermented things. And so if you're not super good on those, it can take a little getting used to, I think. I think kimchi is one of those that was like, I was really iffy on the flavor of it. I was like, there are some I like and some I don't. Part of that is like how fresh versus how fermented it was, which blowing my mind here. It took getting into BTS to realize there's a big difference, and that a lot of people don't like the like in between. When it's like fresh, people like it, and when it's totally fermented, but that there's an in-between stage where it's kind of nasty. I learned that there are not a lot of people who like it in that stage, and so I felt a lot better. And now knowing that you wait longer and it gets better, great. I've learned to make my own kimchi. Kimchi is a really strong flavor, so it does take some getting used to, and it's one of those things that's kind of like iffy, and then all of a sudden I just started craving it. Now I love it so much. I feel like a lot of Korean food heads towards that direction. If you like fishier tastes, if you like spicier foods, if you like fermented foods, you probably will get into it a lot easier. If you don't like those things, the best things to get into Korean food, I think, in my humble opinion, get ready for it, here I come. I think Korean barbecue is fantastic. I think you should learn how to do it the way that Korean people do it, with like the lettuce leaf wraps, with the samjang and all of that. I think that is the best way. I mean, obviously they know how to do it right. But when I first got into it, I was like, oh, the meat is delicious. But there is a way to make it that is like even better. So do it the Korean style. Really, really good. Bibimbap obviously is really, really good. Like, how can you go wrong with a bunch of different things in a bowl, like a Buddha bowl kind of situation? Fantastic. Some of the sweets are really good. Hotek is fantastic. It's just like a pancake, like a chewy pancake, like a brown sugar or honey kind of inside with seeds of some kind or nuts. It's really, really good. I like it a lot. What else have I had? Obviously Korean like fried chicken is a really good one to get into. If you're iffy about the pickle, if you're iffy about the like fermented things, but you're interested in trying it, the cucumbers, the little like spicy cucumbers that are almost always a side dish at Korean barbecue, really freaking good. All the panchans are good. All of the like little side dishes, that's like the best thing about Korean food, honestly. I love having a million different little side dishes to try when you're eating your main meal. That's my favorite thing. Having all of the panchans is so great. All cultures need to get in on this. This is like the best thing Korea does about food, is having all of the side dishes. Love it. But go for the little cucumber ones because it's like a spicy pickle. It's delicious. And those tend to be more fresh too. They tend to have less of the fermented taste typically. The bean sprouts are pretty good, but they might look weird if you're not like familiar with bean sprouts, but they're usually really tasty. Japchae is the easiest one to get into. It's like glass noodles and veggies, and sometimes it'll have like meat or something. I've had it vegetarian though a lot, but I think normally it has like beef or pork or something. But japchae has like usually a sesame kind of a taste with the glass noodles, or they're not even glass noodles. I think they're potato noodles. They're fantastic. Japchae, phenomenal, so good. Even like crappy japchae is still delicious. And if you get great japchae, it's unbelievable. So japchae is an easy one to get into. Really, I think going for Korean barbecue and eating all of the different panchans and having bibimbap are some really like safe ones to start getting into it, and then from there like start eating different kimchis. Watch the Korean dramas, or like I was watching BTS and just like anytime they ate something I looked it up and was like, is this something I would like? Is it not? There's a lot of seafood, a lot of spicy food, but there's a lot of other things, and just like anytime it's interesting you just look it up. This is the best way to get into a different culture's food, is just to be curious about it and just try things. And like you might not like everything, but like give something a try, even if you're not into like you know you don't like sauerkraut, so you don't think you'll like kimchi, like just give it a try. It's a totally different flavor. On that note, I hope your 2022 starts off phenomenally. It's gonna be the year of the tiger. That's gonna start in February though, so we won't even go into all of the meaning behind that and everything. We'll get into that later. But have fantastic 2022, which I'm probably gonna be posting this on the 1st of, so I hope New Year's was really, really safe and really nice, and that, you know, I hope that good things happen. I hope it'll be like a happy, prosperous, healthy year for everyone. And even though I know it's probably not going to be the case, and certainly not going to be the case for everyone, I wish that upon you. And thank you so much for following me from 2021 or even before that. If you have been here a long time, thank all of you for your support and for, you know, liking and subscribing to the videos and all of that. Like, I really do appreciate it. And I will be back with more, and I will be focused on more quality content. We'll see how that pans out, but good luck to you and good luck to all of us in 2022. Thanks. Bye.